We got to know Molly, and because we lived not so far away, and she had been, she was her husband had been quite a high-flying diplomat, I think, at some point or another. She had a great life for a while, but then all that side of her life had kind of collapsed. And so I think she felt the need to earn some money at some point. I don't know how long before she told us this story, but she got a job working with a well-known Irish family, an elderly woman in a well-known Irish family. And it meant going out to Dublin and working with this woman who was extremely rich and who used to send her laundry to Paris once a month and used to go to Paris once a month to have her hair done. And she was quite demanding, this woman, apparently. And she, when she arrived at this house in Dublin, there were servants and butlers and goodness knows what. And the woman said to her, now, when you go to bed tonight, I think you should have one of the dogs with you. So Molly said, I'm fine, I love dogs, so that's absolutely fine. So she was given some supper and she went to bed quite early, and this great big Irish wolfhound, in fact, was sent up to her room with her, which very old and quite not a peaceful sort of dog. And she lay in bed reading at probably about 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening, and the dog was lying on a mat somewhere close to her to one side. And there were two doors to the room. There was one on the right side of the bed and another on the left-hand side of the bed. And she said, I'd been reading for a little while and I suddenly saw the dog head sort of start up, and it looked over to the right, to the door on the right. It had obviously heard something. And I thought, what's that? And she said, I saw the door handle go down. Very slowly, went all the way down. And the dog was watching this intently, and then slowly the door handle went up. And the dog looked at it for a bit, and then the dog's head went from where that door handle was. The dog's head just followed somebody he could obviously see all the way around the room. She couldn't see this person. And it went all the way around to the door on the other side of the room. And it stood there looking, and the door handle on that side went down. And there was a pause, and then it went up again. And the dog carried on watching for a bit, and then thought, well, that's that, and went back to sleep again. Half an hour later, the dog's head suddenly popped up again, looked over there again, and saw the door handle go down again. And then this whole same procedure of watching an invisible person go all the way around the room again. And she was getting a bit tense by this time, poor Molly, and it went to the other side, and sure enough, the handle went down and up. The door didn't move, but the handle did. And then the dog went back to sleep, and that was the end of that episode. However, a bit later on, the woman said to her, I wonder if she was sorting out papers and things, can you go down into my little office down on the ground floor? You'll have to go along the corridor. You'll find my office at the end of the corridor. And you'll find there's a file, a green file there, and I'd want you to bring that back up. So Molly said, yes, of course. And she went out of the room she was in, down some stairs, and walked along the corridor until she got to a certain point in the corridor where there was a kind of invisible wall that she just couldn't get through. She thought, oh my goodness, what's going on? She couldn't understand what was happening, but she couldn't get past this invisible barrier. So she thought, well, this woman's going to flay me alive now. And I go, what can I tell her? So she thought, well, I don't know. So she went back up and the woman said, where's the file? And she said, well, I tried to get down the corridor. And she said, what do you mean you couldn't get past it? She said, well, there was a kind of like an invisible barrier. Oh, that. Oh, yes, that's fine. Okay, well, we'll do something now for the time being. So it was obviously part of the history of the house, an invisible barrier in the corridor. Whatever next?